What is your full name?
My name is Jolene Ray Robinson Wayman.
Where were you born?
I was born in the old maternity Cottonwood home in where Cottonwood Hospital used to sit. Now that's not much of a hospital as it is a medical place now. But I was born December 24th in 1950. And I ruined Christmas for everybody else because I came early. But my grandma said it was the best Christmas present she ever got.
What was your early life like? Did you have any siblings?
I am the oldest of 14 children, and so yes, I have lots of siblings. I have seven sisters, and what was it? Seven. There's eight girls and 6 boys. That's what I have in my family.
Are there any moments from your childhood that shaped who you are today?
Well, there are lots of things that happen to you in your childhood. You know, a lot of things as a child. My mom depended on me a lot because I was the oldest. My dad was a traveling salesman, so he was gone a lot. So my mom depended on me for a lot of things. We moved a lot, and so I don't have a lot of really close friends from everywhere because every couple of years we moved as a child. Well, I didn't have much time from getting to know people, so.
How was school from kindergarten to the end of high school?
I went to school from kindergarten. I went up, we lived up in a 3-story apartment up on Wall Street, up by the Capitol, and I went to kindergarten there. I remember I got lost one time, and my mom ended up having to call the police, and finally I found a landmark to get me home, and I got home, and my mom was so mad, but yet she was so glad because I was safe. So I didn't get too much trouble for not coming right home when I should have.
Were you a good student in school?
I think I had a rough start learning how to read and stuff because we moved a lot, didn't have a lot of stability as being in the same school or same environment all the time. When I was in the 1st grade, I ended up having to live with my grandmother. So every Monday morning, my dad would bring me to my grandmother's house, and I went to school and stayed overnight there until Friday, and my dad would pick me up. When I was in the 1st grade, this is something I remember that might be interesting. I was on the little monkey bars, and I got on top and thought I could swing around with my knees and swing around, and I swung right around and hit my face right here and knocked both front teeth out. And I was without my front teeth for 2 years till they grew in. Then we moved from there. We were living in Draper, and I want you to know there was nothing in Draper when I lived out there. It was nothing but sand, and it was so far out. It was a 2-lane highway all the way out, and you'd go out 7th East, and then you'd go out, and you'd go out, and then pretty soon there's no more lights, no more houses, dark, no street lights or anything. We lived out in a little farmhouse out there in Draper. So from there we moved to Murray, and I stayed there a couple of years. And from Murray we moved to Cedar City. And from Cedar City we moved back to Salt Lake City. And then the best years of my learning and my education came when we moved to Fairview. So we lived in Sanpete County, and I went to junior high and high school there. And that's when I had the best time of my life. I was a flag twirler, and in the 9th grade I marched in a band and twirled the baton. And we marched in all the little town parades. I marched in the Ute Stampede. When I was in high school, I was on the drill team. I took type and shorthand, and of all things, I never took home economics. You'd think mother of 14 kids would have needed that, so I had to learn all of that the hard way because I didn't take any home economic classes when I was in high school, which I should have done. But I went to a junior prom. I used to barrel race horses. I had my own quarter horse. We lived on a farm. We had chickens and ducks and geese. We had sheep, cows, pigs, all of that stuff. I had a cousin who came and lived with us, and he was like the ranch hand down there because my dad was still a traveling salesman, so he was gone a lot, so my mom needed help. And he taught me how to drive a 4-on-the-floor gear shift when I was 13 years old. He taught me how to barrel race and put a saddle on a horse and do all those fun things. So he was a major part in my life, my older cousin. He taught me a lot. We roamed the mountaintop there on top of Fairview Mountain. We knew everywhere. In fact, he let me drive his little Volvo, and we went up the canyon to meet a friend of mine who was a sheep herder during the summer, and I got the car stuck in a little stream. We had to get out with our flashlight and walk to camp where he was at, and then saddle up the horse, and then bring it back to see if we could pull that little Volvo. And a little Volvo was a little bit bigger than a Volkswagen, those little bugs, just a little bit bigger than that. So it was pretty easy to pull it out, but it took us all evening to get that done, and I didn't get home till the next morning, so I got in trouble for sneaking out in the middle of the night. So.
Did you go to college?
No, I didn't go to college. I met your grandpa. He was the nephew of your grandfather, and he had gone TDY to learn how to do instruments for the government to put in the jet airplanes. He worked on the altimeters that tell you how high up the airplane is, the liquid oxygen, it would tell the pilot how much oxygen he had available, a gyro compass that would navigate the plane from the stars and the moon and stuff. So he worked on those instruments, and while he was back there, he got a Dear John letter, so he's pretty sad. He came home from TDY, and your grandpa said he should come down to Fairview and meet me. And so we did. We met, had a lot in common, and we dated for a year, got engaged, and I got married when I was 17.
What was your wedding like?
Well, it was a big family wedding at a church. You took a picture of me and Grandpa, and I was with Grandpa for 49 years, 50 if you count the year that we were engaged. So I had a good life with him. I had 14 children with him, and we raised a big family. Wasn't always easy, but we've been in this house for more than 50 years.
Did you work while you were raising your kids?
I did. I worked at a place called Fashion Cabinets. Let's back up. I worked as a cocktail waitress at a supper club when I was expecting Paul. I worked cleaning homes. I worked in a bakery. I worked at Fashion Cabinets. And then I was a nanny and a housekeeper. And after that, I got kind of tired of doing that. Oh, I had a daycare for a few years and tended other people's children in my home. And then after that, I went to work for my brother, who was the plant manager at a company called Stylecraft. And I started at the very bottom, and when I left, I was the plant manager. I worked there for 23 years and raised my children as well.
What advice do you have for the youth of today?
It's good to dream. It's good to prepare yourself for your life. It's good to save. Hard work brings results. Not to be afraid of hard work. Listen to your parents and grandparents, because they've lived a long life and they do have advice. Things are not the same as they were in our day. You don't have, we were able to go and play and not be as worried and concerned as parents have to be for their young children today. We played and rode our bikes and roamed the neighborhoods, which you can't always do that now. You have to be very careful with your kids, and so we had a lot more freedoms than I feel the kids of today have. But we didn't have the technology you had. I didn't even have a TV. My mom and dad didn't even have a TV to watch until I was probably in the 6th grade, and it was a used TV, and it broke down a lot, and so we'd go long periods with no TV, so we played. We made our own fun.